Hello students, welcome to class 6 Science, chapter 8 Body Movements. Sit absolutely still. Observe the movements taking place in your body. You must be blinking your eyes time to time. Observe the movements in your body as you breathe. There are so many movements that happen in our bodies. When you are writing in your notebook, which part of your body are you moving? When you are interacting with your friend, different parts of our body move while we remain on the same place. You also move from one place to another. You go to school from home and from school return home. You walk, run, skip, jump and move from place to place. How do animals move? They walk, run, fly, jump, creep, crawl, slither and swim. These are only a few of the ways in which animals move from one place to another. Human body and its movements. Let us look closely at some of our own movements to begin with. Do you enjoy doing physical exercise at school? How do you move your hands and legs while doing different exercises? Now imagine bowling an imaginary ball at an imaginary wicket. How did you move your arm? You rotate it at your shoulder in a circular motion to throw the ball. In these, different parts of your body move to do an activity. Now let us do an activity. Place a scale lengthwise on your arm so that your elbow is in the center. Ask your friend to tie the scale and your arm together. Now try to bend your elbow. Are you able to do it? Did you notice that we are able to bend or rotate our body in places where two parts of our body seem to be joined together, and the places like elbows, shoulders and neck? These places are called joints. Ball and socket joints. Roll a strip of paper into a cylinder. Make a small hole in an old rubber or plastic ball and push the paper cylinder into it as shown. Put the ball into a small bowl. Does the ball rotate freely inside the bowl? Did the paper cylinder also rotate? Now imagine that the paper cylinder is your arm and the ball is at its end. The bowl is like the part of your shoulder to which the arm is joined. The rounded end of one bone fits into the cavity, hollow space of the other bone. Such a joint allows movement in all directions. Pivotal joint. The joint where our neck joins the head is a pivotal joint. It allows us to bend our head forwards and backwards and turn the head to our right and left. How is this movement different from the other? In a pivotal joint, a cylindrical bone rotates in a ring. Hinge joints. Hinge joints work as the same as opening and closing a door. Knee is one such example of an hinge joint. Hinge joint is similar to ball and socket joint, but in this, the hinge joint only moves from one corner to another. This type of joint is seen in hands and legs, which helps us in movement. Fixed joints. Some joints between bones in our head are different from those we have discussed so far. The bones cannot move at these joints. Such joints are called fixed joints. Cannot be moved. When you open your mouth wide, you can move your lower jaw away from your head, isn't it? But now try moving your upper jaw. Are you able to do it? These joints between the upper and the rest of the head is called a fixed joint. All the bones in our body also form a framework to give a shape to our body. This framework is called the skeleton. How do we know that this is the shape of a human skeleton? Do we know the shape of different bones in our body? We can have some idea about the shape and number of bones in some part of our body by feeling them. One way we can know this shape better would be to look at an X-ray image of a human being. Sometimes when we are hurt or have an accident, doctors use these X-rays to find about the possible injuries that might have happened to the bones. The X-rays show the shape of the bones in our bodies. Take a deep breath and hold it for a little while. Feel your chest bones and the backbone by gently pressing the middle of the chest and back at the same time. Count as many ribs as possible. What do you feel? We see that the ribs are curiously bent. They join the chest bone and the backbone together to form a box. This is called the rib cage. Some important internal organs of our body lie protected inside this cage. Ask some friends to touch their toes without bending their knees. Starting from the neck, move your fingers downwards on the back of your friend. What do you feel is the backbone? It is made up of many small bones. The rib cage is joined to these bones. Try raising your arm up straight and try relaxing it down. Do you observe the movements in your hand? There are two bones standing up when you lift your hand up. These bones are called shoulder bones. Try standing or sitting down. You observe the parts of your bones below your stomach. The portion below your stomach of your body is enclosed of a few bones. The bones is called pelvic bones. The skull is made up of many bones joined together. It encloses and protects a very important part of our body, the brain. We discussed many bones and joints in our skeleton. There are some additional parts of the skeleton that are not hard as the bones and which can be bent. These are called cartilage. Feel your ear. Do you find any hard bony parts that can be bent? There seem to be no hard bones. Do you find any difference between the earlobe and the portions above it? The upper part is made up of a cartilage and the lower pinna is made up of a soft tissue which can be bent. Now do an exercise. Make a fist with one hand, bend your elbow level and touch your shoulder with the thumb. Do you see any change in the upper arm? Try touching the upper arm with your other hand. Do you feel the swollen region inside your upper arm? This is a muscle. The muscle bulged is due to contraction. Now bring your arm back to its normal position. It becomes straight. When you run, you feel that the muscles are contracting and relaxing. The muscle becomes shorter, stiffer and thicker when it is pulled. Muscles work in pairs. When you do movements with your hand, there are contractions and relaxations taking place in your muscles. Here's an interesting fact. Let's go back in history, way back, even before the modern day religions were invented or came into existence. In ancient India, there was a rishi named Sushruta. Sushruta, in his book Sushruta Samiti, gave classifications of the bones and their reaction to injuries. Isn't it fun? It is interesting. He also suggested varieties of dislocations of joints and fractures of the shaft, which are given systematically. Are muscles and bones always required for movement? How do other animals move? Do all the animals have bones? What about an earthworm or a snail? Do you think they have bones and muscles? Gait of animals. Earthworm. Observe an earthworm moving on soil in a garden. Gently lift it and place it on a piece of blotting or a filter paper. Now observe its movement. Then the body of an earthworm is made up of many rings joined end to end. An earthworm doesn't have any bones. It has muscles which help to extend and shorten the body. During movement, the earthworm first extends the front of the body, keeping the rear portion fixed to the ground. Then it fixes the front end and releases the rear end. The earthworm can move through soil. Its body secretes a slimy substance to help the movement. What do the earthworm eat? The earthworm actually eats its way through the soil. Its body then throws away the undigested part of the material that it eats. This activity of an earthworm makes the soil more useful for plants. Snail. Collect a snail from a garden. Have you seen a rounded structure it carries on its back? This is called a shell and it is the outer skeleton of a snail. But it is not made of bones. The shell is a single unit and does not help in moving from place to place. It has to be dragged along. A thick structure and the head of the snail may come out of an opening in the shell. Cockroach. Cockroaches walk and climb as well and as fly in the air. They have 3 pairs of legs. These help in walking. The body is covered with a hard outer skeleton. This outer skeleton is made of different units joined together and that permits movements. There are 2 pairs of wings attached to the breast. The cockroaches have distinct muscles. Those near the legs move the legs for walking. The breast muscles move the wings when the cockroach flies. Birds. Birds fly in air and walk on the ground. Some birds like ducks and swans also swim in water. The birds can fly because of their body are well suited for flying. The bones are hollow and light. The bones of the hind limbs are typically for walking and piercing. The bony parts of the forelimbs are modified as wings. The shoulder bones are strong. The breast bones are modified to hold muscles of flight which are used to move the wings up and down. Fish. Have you noticed that the shape of a boat is somewhat like a fish? The head and tail of a fish are smaller than the middle portion of the body. The body tapers at both ends. This body shape is called streamlined. The shape of a fish is in such a way that the water can flow around it easily and allow the fish to move in water. The fish uses its fin to move in water, which pushes the fish in water. How do snakes move? Have you seen a snake slither? Does it move straight? Snakes have a long backbone. They have many thin muscles. They are connected to each other even though they are far from one another. The muscles are also interconnected, the backbone, ribs and skin. The snake's body curves into many loops. Each loop of the snake gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. Since its long body makes many loops and each loops give it this push, the snake moves forward very fast and it's not in a straight line. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, in his book Gate of Animals, answered many questions that he had on the movement of animals. If you want, you can check them.